okay?
No, what? We only have so much time. Get off Roblox.
I'm ready to start.
Just get off Roblox.
I'm almost finished.
Yes, yes.
Hello, testing.
The fuck?
Oh.
Yeah!
Yeah!
Nice! Yeah.
If I could learn how to edit, I would edit
That means
songs
we can
over
finally
everything.
do the Dill City episode. Animated.
No, oh, he just one-hit me. What the heck is that? That's cheats,
Okay,
dude.
can we
Know what?
read this now?
Noah, get off Roblox right now.
Okay, I'm ready.
I can go back
I'm
to
actually ready.
ignoring all my homework if that's what you guys want.
No, just get off Roblox, Noah.
I'm ready!
Are you off Roblox, though?
Yeah!
Are you?
Are you on the fanfiction?
Yes, the fanfiction is on a different tablet anyway, so I'm fine.
So we're all on the fanfiction right now.
Oh my gosh. That's a wall portal.
Hey,
All right. Everyone quiet. Be quiet. All right.
Okay.
Chapter 1. Lionel! It's your line! You're Paul! You're the first line! This is a dramatic, Lionel. Try to stay serious. Paul, I'm the narrator. Shut up. Paul smiled. He leaned in and kissed Susan gently on the lips. All of a sudden, she pushed him really hard. He fell backwards off the couch that they were sitting on.
Oh my
Paul's eyes were as wide as they could be. He was not expecting to be shoved away. He stared up in confusion at her. Susan broke out at tears.
You know why, you jerk!
She got up and started to walk off. Paul yelled after her. She turned back around and bent down, scowling.
I just heard about what you did to that poor little girl. You sick monster. I should turn you into the police.
With that, she slapped him across the face as hard as she could and stormed off. Paul wasn't sure what to do. He was overwhelmed with many different emotions at once. He was confused, angry, astonished, and feeling terrible. Yes, we should do sound effects. Yes. There's the slap. And feeling terrible overall.
Wait, hold on, yeah. Mello, are you the moderator of this Discord server that we're using?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Use the pancake thing. This
is not the time.
Because
we're in the middle of a Beatles
but you're able to use music, and it's super good. You're able to use music now. I want to listen to music while I'm reading my Pulp Fiction fan fiction. Oh, my brother's home.
Yes, we should. Yeah. We should. Romantic, dramatic music. Let's go. Come on, someone get the bot right now.
I got it. What bot is it?
I don't know. It's pancake something was what Noah said.
It's in the general chat. I sent a link. You just gotta scroll up a little.
Oh, I already searched it up. Yes. Oh, yes. Hold on, I'm gonna turn my fan down just a sec.
Okay.
May you help me with it? Because I kind of need credit card information. Oh, you're gone. Okay, well, you know.
Noah, you're John Lennon. You have to get back here.
Place an online order, I need credit card information.
Yes, I am aware of this.
It's capture, then I'm a human.
Well, I already know what they want.
Jay, are you getting
Okay,
Christmas
just put
gifts right
P
now?
exclamation mark and then it'll work. P exclamation mark and then play and then whatever music.
Can't believe you guys are doing all of this right now in the middle of our Beatles fan fiction reading.
My brother's vacuuming. It's not really much I can do. No, you gotta play. You gotta do P exclamation mark, then the word play, and then the song.
This is perfect, except for it's horrible. Yeah, we probably should.
Okay, well, I was completely lying. I was playing Minecraft that whole time.
Noah! You bastard!
Not Minecraft, Roblox, but I finished it now, so it's all good.
I hate you. Anyways, let's start again. With the romantic music. Okay. Chapter 1. Come on! Lionel, get your cues right! Jesus! Noah, what?
My brother, he's vacuuming! Can you hear it?
No!
Can you guys hear it? Just checking.
No! That was
Hello?
so funny.
At the same time.
That was
What?
so... No, we can't hear the vacuum, Noah.
You guys can't hear the vacuum.
No. Okay. All right, come on. We have to actually do this stupid fanfiction, all right, you guys? All right, let's start. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Chapter 1. Paul smiled. He leaned in and kissed Susan gently on the lips. All of a sudden, she pushed him really hard. He fell backwards off the couch they were sitting on. Paul's eyes were as wide as they could be. He was not expecting to be shoved away. He stared up in confusion at her. Susan broke out in tears. Jay, we need you. You're the best Susan I've ever met. Susan!
I wasn't
Okay, I'll just read this line
So
again
good.
and then you can
Oh
you
my
can
God.
start.
Hold on. I need to click the link again because I had to go to Discord and close the tab.
No, I stop.
It was perfect too.
Yeah.
I even did a kiss sound effect when you
Aw,
said he
damn.
leaned in and kissed Susan.
No. Okay,
This
let's
music is
restart
so
all
good.
over again. Okay.
Music is so good.
Just
Oh
restart.
my
I'm
God.
liking this music.
Let's
I love
completely
it.
restart.
This is good music.
Let's come. Yeah. We got this. All right. Chapter 1. Paul smiled. He leaned in and kissed Susan gently on the lips. All of a sudden, she pushed him really hard. He fell backwards off of the couch they were sitting on. Paul's eyes were as wide as they could be. He was not expecting to be shoved away. He stared up in confusion at her. Susan broke out in tears.
You know why, you jerk.
She got up and started to walk off. Paul yelled after her. She turned back around and bent down, scowling.
I just heard about what you did to that poor little girl. You sick monster. I should turn you into the police.
With that, she slapped him across the face as hard as she could and stormed off. Paul wasn't sure what to do. He was overwhelmed with many different emotions at once. He was confused, angry, astonished, and feeling terrible overall. He couldn't handle it. All of a sudden, he put his hands into his face and started bawling. Noah, this is your line.
Paul?
came a voice from behind him.
Maka, are you okay? I don't know how to say that.
It's Maka. Paul took his hands off his face and quickly wiped away the tears. He turned around and saw John standing there, looking very worried. Paul sniffled.
What happened?
He asked with curiosity.
Oh, I
Paul
forgot
yelled.
we're British.
That's canon dialogue. John smirked for a second and quickly hid it before Paul saw it. His face rested in an accomplishment. He had done it. He had broken them up. Then, all of a sudden, John's face tensed up. He looked at Paul's cheek and saw it was very red. Paul saw John staring at the mark and continued talking. John's face quickly turned to anger.
That Bill!
I've got wonderful sound effects coming up.
This is so good, you guys. Okay. Paul couldn't hear the rest of his sentence because John was already out the door and down the hallway of Paul's house. Paul groaned. He didn't want John getting involved. He hated when John was overprotective of him. He was supposed to be his friend, not his dad. He heard yelling outside, and then a scream. And then a scream. He jumped up and rushed outside. John was standing there, looking completely enraged. Susan was running away fast as she could. John spit at the ground.
Chewy!
And then turned to Paul.
Sorry about that.
He said,
I don't know what sheepishly means.
like, sorry about that. Like nervous or whatever.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, like that. Paul.
You're not being British.
Shut up! What is that? Just say the goddamn line.
Fine, I won't be British.
Paul yelled
I
at him
won't
with
be British.
anger. John looked scared.
Nothing, I swear. I didn't touch her.
This is perfect. Damn, you guys.
Continue reading next part.
Yeah.
He's like,
Oh, it's already chapter 2?
Lionel, it gets so much worse. You have no idea. I already explained the entire plot to Jay.
like,
Let's
oh
go.
my god, Paul, I'm so sorry.
Continue.
No idea.
Okay. Chapter 2.
2.
Paul sat on the couch, staring into space. He was in deep thought. He couldn't get his mind off Susan. Why had all the girls he dated left him? Something bad always happened that caused them to leave, and Paul wasn't sure why. He was sure he had the worst luck in the universe. John was sitting next to him on the couch. He wasn't staring off into space. He was staring at Paul, with a strange look of regret on his face. He watched Paul in silence as Paul thought. Paul didn't notice John looking at him. He went on staring.
And Paul?
John muttered. Paul's head slowly turned. He said blankly, as if he was still thinking. John stared down at his lap.
There's something I have to tell you.
He started sweating lightly.
I don't want you to be mad at me, but it was me who
John and Paul both jumped at a large knock on the door. Paul
British
got
screams.
up slowly and headed towards the door. As he did, the knocking grew more urgent. He sped up his pace and quickly opened the door. Ringo was standing there with intense fear on his face. Paul asked confusedly. George! Ringo gasped, as if he'd sprinted 10 miles to get here. Girls! Took help! Those were the only words he could manage before he fainted in the doorway. Paul put his hands over his mouth and his eyes widened. John came up behind him.
What's up? Something wrong?
He noticed Ringo's body in the front of the door. He glanced toward Paul and then rushed to Ringo's side. He heaved him off the floor and carried him back to the living room. He lied him down where him and Paul were sitting moments ago.
Ringo?
He gently tapped Ringo's cheek.
Ringo, can you hear me?
He frustratedly tapped on his cheek harder. Paul came back in from the hallway. That's John. That's John.
What happened?
John stood up and faced Paul. Paul looked scared as he turned towards Ringo. John's face whitened. Was George dead? No, he couldn't be. John and Paul were forced to wait until Ringo came to. They sat in silence for about an hour. When Ringo finally muttered the word, George, they both shot up off the floor and raced to the couch. Paul asked quietly. Yeah, Ringo whispered.
That's not a whisper.
Wait, yeah. Ringo whispered. No, it's damn it, nothing works well, okay? Yeah, Ringo whispered.
What's wrong?
John inquired.
Tell us everything.
You're so good at this. This is horrible. Oh my god. We were coming here, George and I. We were drinking at the bar. Just a little. We didn't. He was struggling with finding the right words. We were coming here alone. No cops around. We should have been more careful. A crowd of girls came. They surrounded us. It was scary. We both tried to push our ways out. I reached the end of the crowd and started sprinting away. I looked back. I didn't see George anywhere. I stopped running and stood there, and that's when I heard him screaming my name. Ringo started tearing up. I left him. I ran. I was too scared. I was an idiot and a coward. He broke out sobbing. John looked towards Paul with an extremely concerned look on his face. He got up and stared down Paul with fury growing in his eyes. This is John.
Oh, I'll go get him. You stay here. Come with Ringo.
With that, John sprinted out of the living room and down the hallway. Ron heard Paul, who the fuck is... Okay. Paul heard the door slam.
Weasley.
And turned back to Ringo. Paul comforted Ringo. That's still you. Shut up, we're British. Come on, you know this.
That's a southern accent.
Kaya.
Yes.
Kaya.
Yes.
4 lines.
Next
Kaya.
part. Chapter 3.
I assumed I had... Okay, when I was reading this with Ringo before, I had like no lines, okay?
Chapter 3.
I'm
ready.
skipping, okay? I had an ad! Leave me alone! Chapter 3! Shut up! As John bolted out the front door to Paul's house, he wasn't sure how he was feeling. He was scared, angry, determined, and excited. What if something terrible happened to George? How could a group of girls get so out of control? He was going to get George and bring him back safe. Would Paul be proud of him if he rescued George? He raced down the street that led from the bar to Paul's house. He looked down, but the mob had obviously left by now. John looked around for something George might have dropped. Nothing. George dropped on his knees and put his hands on the back of his head. He knew it would be hopeless. How could he ever find him? John got up and sullenly walked into the bar, hoping to find someone who was a witness to the events that had happened a while ago. All of a sudden, he heard the magic words coming from somebody at the counter.
George Harrison?
A girl asked the bartender. John inched towards the girl as she chatted with the bartender. The bartender turned around and faced the young woman. She was very drunk and was blabbing away. The bartender didn't know that she was talking to him.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. What was that?
questioned the man.
I said, do you know George Harrison?
Piped the lady excitingly. Excitingly? Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Lives here, right?
Guys, this is
In that famous band now.
John.
Uh-huh.
No, it's
it's
the bartender.
a bartender, I forgot.
Giggled the girl. Giggled the girl.
What about him?
The girl leaned in close so nobody could hear. John came even closer to her and started listening right behind her back.
Me and my friends.
She giggled again, then hiccuped.
We stole him. What?
Asked the now concerned bartender.
What do you mean? We got him.
She grinned. She hiccuped again.
He's in my friend Marla's basement. My friends are having fun with him.
The bartender's eyes widened.
Are you mad?
The girl giggled once more. Then she passed out, and her head banged down on the counter. The bartender went back to working. John sat down next to the girl and looked at the bartender. He pretended not to have been eavesdropping.
What's up, boy?
No! Noah! Why are you shouting? That would obviously wake up the girl.
Oh, sorry.
God.
What's her deal?
John motioned towards the girl.
Very drunk. She was babbling to me about something crazy. Obviously, has no idea what she's talking about.
What'd she say?
Instead of friends, her kidnapped to beat? Rubbish. Cops are protecting him every minute of the day.
The bartender suddenly stared at him.
Are you?
No, I get it all the time. I just look like Lenin, but I'm not. Well, I'll be taking my sister home now.
He started to lift the unconscious girl to her feet and started walking her towards the exit. The bartender stood there, very confused. John walked for a moment and turned into a dark alley. He put the girl down against the wall and waited a while. She slowly came to. When she opened her eyes and saw where she was and a man in front of her, she screamed.
Quiet!
Yelled John as he put his hands over her mouth. The girl started crying and forced his hand off of her mouth.
Oh, Vince just broke in my room. Shut up. Oh god.
Okay, Lionel, you go for it.
Oh wait, no wait. No.
She cried. John
I'm not
stared
going
at her.
I'm not going to do anything to you. I just want to talk.
That's more. You're getting into a Scottish region, and I don't. Why are you?
I just want to talk.
There you go. The girl's eyes opened as she wiped her tears away. She gasped.
You're John Lennon.
Yeah, and you better tell me who my friends are. You're gonna get bloody beaten. I'm not gonna get a girl. I'm not gonna hit a girl. I'm not afraid to hit a girl.
He scowled. You're so Scottish now. It's like only Scottish. Why are you Scottish?
Listen, mate. You're a crush on me, alright? Go on, Lennon.
Her lip quivered.
I'll tell you. But only if you promise not to hurt my friends.
I won't.
And don't tell the cops on them.
John hesitated.
I won't.
Go down Chestnut Road and make a left on Mulberry Street. It's the third house on the right. The light blue one.
Oh, thanks then, love. That's kind.
John started running away. The girl sat there and watched him leave.
So dreamy.
She muttered.
Uh-oh.
You said PogChamp! What the hell
What
is
did I
wrong with you? This is Beatles era! They don't say PogChamp!
They said PogChamp in the 1830s, okay?
No, they didn't!
They did.
I don't think they did. Alright.
This chapter sucks.
Next one sucks. Chapter 4. John stared up at the blue house. Yes. Is there?
Come on, just start it.
Oh my god.
You guys are boring. I'm gonna read manga now.
No, come on.
No.
George is probably gonna speak in this one.
I didn't get to speak.
It appears
You
that
have
I
to
need to
speak.
leave.
Oh.
And it appears as though, this is an issue.
Are we on
Okay.
chapter 4?
Well, I
I'm
will
on-
be slightly quieter now, actually. Just
Okay.
not gonna scream anymore.
Alright.
Here we go.
Alright, Mello, you get to speak in this chapter. It's George's chapter.
Okay, let's go.
I
Okay.
can't wait.
Chapter 4. John stared up at the blue house. Noah.
It's still you.
But this is his thoughts.
Whatever.
Yes.
Okay. He thought he walked towards the front door, and was about to knock, but he didn't. Instead, he headed around the house looking for a basement window. He finally found a tiny one and lowered his body to the ground to look through. He gasped. He saw George.
Shut up, Noah. You're not George.
I guess.
He saw George. Luckily, he looked fine. He was alone
Oh,
down
wait.
there. He was
Never
tightly
mind, I'm
bound
the
to a
dumb
wooden
one.
chair that looked uncomfortable. There was a rope that was wrapped around him all the way from his chest to his ankles. There seemed to be more than one layer of ropes. These girls obviously overestimated his strength. John sighed with relief. Because all of George's clothes were on. The only thing weird was that his hair was a mess and his shirt was slightly ripped. The girls hadn't done anything really bad yet. John then looked at George's face. There was a cut running down from his cheek to his lips. He was still trembling. The Joker. Barely, because the ropes held him so tight. He was staring at the floor intensely, waiting for something. Anything. John jumped up. He walked back to the front of the house and knocked on the door. No response.
Knock.
He knocked again.
Knock.
And after a few minutes, a voice spoke.
Okay.
After a few minutes, a voice spoke.
Hello? Bro.
After a few minutes, a voice spoke.
Hello?
The girls.
Is it really not working? I swear to God.
I can hear you.
Yeah, we can hear you. You're just not saying the line.
But I did!
I didn't hear you
said
say
it
it when you
twice!
said it. I heard you say hello twice.
Okay, hold on. Who is it?
The girl's
There we go.
voice shook.
The mailman.
Replied John, sarcastically.
I believe you received something that isn't yours, and I need it back.
She waited a couple of seconds and responded.
Come back later, please. I'm in my pajamas.
Of
You did.
course.
Grunted John.
Yeah.
He suddenly heard the sound of many people moving quickly somewhere. He assumed a large crowd was moving to the basement, because he shortly heard a shut of a door. He ran back into the basement.
Or shut.
He ran back into the basement window. He saw George again. John heard the footsteps of a ton of people running down the basement stairs. George suddenly started whimpering and struggling to get out of his chair. The basement door flew open, and a crowd of girls came running towards George.
Did you miss us?
Yelled one.
I'm back, sweetie.
Yelled another. George couldn't move, so he turned his head away and shut his eyes. They all skidded to a stop when one girl suddenly yelled.
Stop!
John recognized this voice as the girl at the doors.
What's wrong, Mala?
Scowled the girl.
Jay.
Jay.
Hello.
All right, Lionel, you can take it if Jay doesn't respond. She scowled back. The girls then walked calmly towards George. Marla walked right up to him, and the girls stood a few feet away. What
Sorry.
the fuck? Feet away.
I had a small technical issue. I have to do something very quickly.
That's okay. Lionel will read your lines. Alright, Lionel, you're only doing a British accent when you're playing a background character. When Paul is British. She giggled. George slowly opened his eyes and turned his head to face her. She grinned mischievously. George started tearing up. He shook his head and mouthed the word, "Please." Marla frowned. With each word, she moved closer to George, and when she was done talking, she laid her hand gently on his cheek. George flinched.
Flinch noising. Noises. Noise.
She took her hand off of his face and pulled out a knife. George's eyes grew wide, and he started whimpering again.
Stop whimpering.
She yelled as she started cutting some ropes. After a few minutes, George was completely free, but he remained trembling in the chair.
Alright, girls. I'm done. Do what you wish with him.
She backed away and smiled. All the girls came running up to George and jumped on him. He fell off the chair, and they started tearing at his clothes and kissing him on the neck and lip. George squirmed and screamed and tried to get out of their grips, but they were too strong. He held down his arms and legs, and one girl started to move her lips towards his. John couldn't watch any longer. He grabbed a nearby rock and swung it at the small window, and it shattered. And the girls jumped off George and onto their feet. John crawled through the window and dropped to the basement floor. He picked up a big piece of shattered glass and stood up with a look of pure anger in his eyes. Oh my god! Oh my god! Give back my Georgie! Why would he say that? Why did he call him Georgie? That's so dumb. I hate this. Alright. Chapter 5. Marla growled.
He's ours.
He's not.
John growled back. Suddenly, Marla walked over to George and heaved him off the floor. She wrapped her arm around his body and held up her knife to his neck.
He's ours. Isn't that right, Georgie baby?
George stared at John and pleaded with his eyes for him to
where
leave.
are we?
Chapter 5. The very beginning.
I found it.
Okay.
It's just
All
a
the
small
girls
paragraph.
laughed as soon as Marla put the knife up to his neck.
Marla, are you crazy?
Shouted one of them.
Yeah, what are you doing? Leave him alone! Marla, we thought we were just having fun with him? Yeah, why do you even have a knife?
Marla turned to all of them and started screaming her head off.
He's mine! I love him, and he belongs to me. I don't care who I have to kill.
All the girls backed away. Let's sing under it. Alright. All the girls backed away and immediately ran for the basement door. After a few seconds, all the girls had left. John inched closer towards Marla.
Marla, don't be crazy.
John said calmly.
Nobody wants to get hurt. Let's just be on our own separate ways and forget this ever happened.
Yeah, okay.
Grinned Marla devilishly.
We'll be on your way home. I'll be here having fun with my new hobby.
She laughed crazily. Then she did something disgusting. She licked George's face all the way from his chin to his ear. John cringed as he watched George shudder and start trembling.
Marla, I've already called the police.
John lied.
You're going to jail. For how long you'll be in there depends on what you do right now. Let him go.
I know you're bluffing. The cops aren't coming. Now leave. I kill him right in front of your very eyes.
Marla, we both know that if you love him, you'll let him go. Like the song.
He moved closer to Marla, but then stopped suddenly. Marla slashed upward and cut George's cheek back open. He screamed and his eyes started tearing up. Ah! There's your scream noise.
Scream! Don't come any closer!
She screamed. John tried to maintain a calm voice as he watched George's face. Blood was running from his reopened wound and mixing with tears, running from his eyes.
Marla, please.
The screams I make?
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Yes.
Oh.
Please.
Then, Kaya, that is cold.
He doesn't want to be here. Look at him.
Marla glared at him, then slowly looked at George's face. She saw complete fear. She turned back to John.
He's just scared because I cut him. Here, look.
Can we skip this, please?
Okay, hold on.
Descriptive, I don't want to listen to this chapter. Paragraph. Just go to, I'm not going to stab you.
Okay. Now what?
Noah.
I'm not gonna stab you.
He said.
I'm not a monster.
With that, he dropped the piece of glass on the floor. John stood up and walked over to George. He picked up the knife and put it back in his pocket. No, wait, put it in his pocket. Then he knelt down over George.
Gia, you okay, buddy?
No answer. He looked at George's cheek. It was really bad. When George had passed
skip
out...
this too, please. After a few seconds.
Okay. After a few seconds...
Alright.
After a few seconds, George suddenly jolted upward and started yelling. John lied him back down and stroked his hair. George stared at John with an utmost fear and cried.
John, help me, please.
John spoke softly.
I will, George. Don't worry.
George's eyes rolled back into the back of his head, and he passed out again. All of a sudden, there were sirens outside. After a minute, cops came through the basement door, pointing guns at Marla. John held onto George as tight as he could and watched the cops handcuff Marla. He took the knife out of his pocket and tried to hand it to the cop standing over him and George. The cops didn't take it. He was too busy staring at George with terror.
Oh, this is me. Sorry.
Okay.
We need to get him to a hospital immediately.
The cop said as he turned towards the other cops, who weren't busy handling Marla. John felt a hand on his back.
You need to let go. We need to take him to the hospital.
The cop said. John clutched George harder.
Who are you? Is he gonna be alright?
The cop hesitated.
He'll be fine. Let go. I'm
Romantic music.
baby.
It's romantic music.
No. He needs to come home with me.
3 hours!
He needs to meet his friends,
John yelled.
I'm sorry.
The cop motioned something to the other cops. They immediately ran up to John and started pulling him away from George. Noah!
Oh, 1 second.
You're not still playing Roblox, are you?
No. Okay,
No,
one more
I
vote
will
needed.
skip
To
your part.
skip. I'm gonna put skip. No, I got it. No, where's that? No!
John
This is the
screamed.
mile which I'm going to play the Coconut Mile theme song in, except it would be far too easy to just sit here and play the Coconut Mile theme. So
I knew
instead,
this
I
was
converted
coming.
my piano into a cart and I'm gonna play
We need
it in the
intense
style of Mario
romantic
Kart.
music.
That is
Let me
right.
look
I'm
that up.
literally gonna drive my piano around the map and play it as if I were playing actual Mario Kart. And just
Skip
hope we
the
don't get kicked
coconut
out.
ball.
Honestly, this is one of the dumbest ideas.
Hold on. Yes.
Play dramatic music rather
I'm
than
on call.
romantic music.
I can't.
What's up,
Okay, yeah,
Piper? How's it going?
Hi, Piper.
Piper! Play dramatic rather than romantic music.
Oh.
It's fine. This is good.
Intense romance.
This is the same song! Oh, wait, but with a saxophone. Never mind. It's good now.
Do we want to listen to the saxophone?
Let's not. Let's do. Is this the warrior song?
I'll never surrender.
Is this the saxophone?
Oh my gosh.
Let's
Dang
play
it.
Imagine Dragon.
Why is
I'll
it so
never
loud?
surrender.
Imagine Dragon. Thunder. Okay, guys, let's read into this song, okay? No one sing, no one anything. We gotta do this professionally, okay? Everyone be quiet. Be quiet. Okay.
I used to
The cop hesitated.
rule the world. Chunks would love when I gave
cop
the word.
hesitated.
Now every night I go
No one shut up.
hide from the mobs I used to slay.
Yes, dude.
Wait, oh, we're
The cop hesitated.
actually we're doing this with the song.
We're doing
Okay,
this
hold
song,
on.
just go.
They once were
I had to end
terrified. Every time I looked into their eyes, villagers would cheer.
Hold on, I can do it.
All right.
They'd say, one minute we had
No, wait, this is.
it all.
I'm sorry.
Next our world began to fall away from all that it
Chapter 4. At the very bottom.
They all cried for my help, but
Wait, are we on chapter
We're chapter
6 now?
5.
No,
Okay.
Chapter 5?
Yeah.
no, 4. We haven't finished
No,
4.
we are on 5.
No, we didn't finish 4.
We've been on 5.
What?
Yeah.
We're on the cop hesitated.
Yeah, that's 5.
Just chapter 4.
That's chapter 5.
Guys, I'm on the same page. It doesn't matter.
All right. The cop hesitated.
What? Oh. We already did this part. I was at it. Okay. You know
Oh,
what?
wait. Never mind.
He'll be
never mind.
fine.
I don't remember him saying please cheap Davy, but that's fine.
Well, that's because you guys
What
were
is
talking
happening?
over me.
I'm so
Guys.
sorry. All right.
Guys,
He
what's
screamed with
going on?
his friend. He screamed. The police yanked him harder and harder. He screamed louder and louder. Davy started lifting George up onto his feet. John broke free of the cop's holds and started swinging at Davy as he was holding George.
Swing.
Stop it!
Yelled Davy to the other cop. John suddenly felt a hard object hit the back of his head. The last thing he saw before he blacked out was Davy dragging George away. Chapter 6. John woke up and immediately started screaming.
Wait, hold on. It's making me try and download Wattpad again. I can't go on to the next chapter. 1 second.
Just go on the link again.
No. Why would you skip this song?
Don't skip. You need it.
It's almost over.
Rule the land. This is the best Minecraft parody there is. This is chapter 6, okay.
All right. Boo. All right. We're ready? Are we ready? What's going on?
It's
Your part. Okay. He heard a noise to the right of him and swung his fist hard. Ah! Ringo.
Swing.
He clutched his stomach and fell on his side. Are you bloody mad? John couldn't help but
Sorry, Ringo.
Why are you so mad at me? He looked around as he saw he was back on the couch in Paul's house. Okay, I can't do it with the song anymore.
Okay, I'll turn it.
No.
What funny dog? Hold on. I got you. Hold on.
Just play intense romantic music again because we're getting to the romance with the saxophone.
Play Careless Whisper.
Careless Whisper.
Mhm. No, I'm joking.
Wait,
That song has
I have to put a
lyrics,
space.
and lyrics are painful.
Okay. All right, this is good.
Oh my god, you did it.
All right. All right. He looked around to see he was back on the couch in Paul's house. He suddenly remembered what had happened.
Where's George? Is he okay? Where is? Oh, he's yelling. Where's George? Is he okay? Where is it?
He yelled. Ringo slowly got up, still clutching his stomach. We don't know yet, he said in a painful look in his eyes. John wasn't sure if it was from the punch or not. Paul suddenly came in from the hallway. He smiled. He stopped smiling. John sighed.
Thank God. Well, not really.
He looked towards Paul.
More like, thank the doctors.
Where did your voice go, Noah? Where did your British accent go? Why did you just change it? Paul laughed.
Guys, I've been speaking so long.
Paul laughed. He walked towards John and kneeled down. He laid his hand on the back of John's head. John tensed up.
Paul, I'm calling you.
Yeah, that's Paul. Call Paul. Paul and John looked towards Ringo and smiled. Ringo started blushing. Sorry, Ringo said sheepishly. I was really mad at the time. Yeah. Paul said.
How good?
Muttered John.
Stupid cops hitting me in the back of the head. I'll show them next time I see you. I'll whack him right in the arse.
Paul giggled and then took his hand off the back of John's head. He said sadly.
Whatever. Oh, I barely
John
feel it.
yawned. Paul smiled at him. Paul joked. John started blushing and quickly hid it.
Yeah.
They stared at each other for a while. There was a few seconds of silence, and then Ringo coughed to break up the awkwardness. Paul turned around.
Guys.
That's Mello's job.
Yeah,
Come on.
God.
I've got my camera on so we can do realistic motions.
All right.
Oh,
Should we visit him? Asked Ringo. You're saying sure, let's go. Piped Paul cheerfully. Paul took his car and drove them to the nearest hospital. They went into the building to see that it wasn't that crowded. No crazy girls to rush them. They went up to see George, and the doctor let them in. They all stood up and watched George. He was lying in bed, sleeping. His face was now less pale, and he looked very relaxed. His cheek looked like it hadn't been worked on yet. There was a huge bandage on the long cut on his face. The doctor spoke from behind them and made them all jump.
We don't think there's any need for stitches. He just has to make sure it's covered to ensure no further damage is done, and he should be healed in no time. There will definitely be a scar, though.
The boys nodded and turned back to George. He started talking again.
We think he feels so terrible because of slight trauma. He must have been terribly afraid of
gosh.
what was happening in that
Oh
basement.
gosh.
He won't talk at all, but he keeps opening his eyes every now and then and looking around. Told him that he was safe, but he looked rather paranoid whenever someone came near him.
Paul frowned. Ringo muttered, "Poor Georgie."
Pause.
Yep.
So, in a few more lines, there's an intercom that talks.
Mhm.
Or they announce something on the intercom. Can we please have Noah do that?
Noah, you're the intercom.
Yes.
All right.
Okay, continue. It's John. It's fine.
Yeah.
No.
Come on, we should go. Noah, it's your turn.
Oh, come on, we should go. Well, actually, I got to use the loo quick.
John said as they exited the room. As they exited the room, he ran to the closest bathroom. When he came out, Ringo was waiting for him.
I have no idea.
I wish I could. That would be awesome. I don't know how to do that. Damn it.
What?
Well, all right. The Beatles on a roller coaster?
Are you on different fan fictions?
No. I'm looking at what Piper sent in the no mic. Beetle on a roller coaster. I'm gonna watch it while Lionel does his thing.
Let's do that.
Hold on, I need to watch this
Shut
now.
up, Ringo. All right, can we keep going? All right. Damn. Okay. Yeah, come on, Noah. We don't need close-ups right now. I don't need to see your teeth, man. That's too intimate. All right. Paul, where are we? Hold on. When he came out, Ringo was waiting for him.
Where's Paul?
Asked John, confused. Ringo rolled his eyes. He pointed towards a room that had giggles coming from it. With a nurse he just met. Having fun in there, he grumbled.
I was in the bathroom for a minute.
John yelled in disbelief. He knocked on the door.
Knock, knock.
Lionel.
With TNT around my heart.
No, you're supposed to be a terribly disguised old man voice. Yelled Paul in a terribly disguised old man voice. John huffed and turned to Ringo. He grinned mischievously and walked off somewhere. After a minute of Ringo standing around waiting and being confused, he heard a voice come over the intercom.
Okay, this is me.
An old lady's voice said politely.
A corpse is being brought in exactly 30 seconds. Everybody's clear. Room's here,
A corpse is being brought in! I forgot about that line! I love it so much! A corpse is being brought in! It's definitely John, you guys. I can't believe you don't see this. After a few seconds, Paul and the nurse came out of the room. Paul and Ringo headed out of the building and back to Paul and Ringo head back out of the building and back to Paul's car. Paul asked. No. John opened the door and hopped in.
Sorry about that, fellas. Monster crap.
Puzzlement
came
writing
across.
is gold.
I know. Beatle fan 24. I love you. Puzzlement came across Ringo's face. Paul started driving out of the parking lot. John was smirking to himself as Paul huffed and puffed to them about what happened between him and the girl, and what had rudely interrupted them. Lionel. Oh, it's a corpse.
No. No, I can't.
John responded with a fake tone of utter disbelief. Ringo stared at John in confusion for a few seconds, and then a grin broke out across his
Guys,
face. He knew what John was up to.
Oh my gosh.
Hold on. I just got a recommendation in between the chapters. This
Yeah.
is called Blackbird, and it's a McLennan fan fiction. And the trigger warnings are: contains child abuse, homophobic slurs, drug/alcohol use, and NSFW content. What?
I've seen that one. Homophobic slurs. It's really funny.
Okay, we should read it next then.
No. Okay, next. Yes. Why is the Seinfeld theme?
What was that?
Who's
Okay, come on, John. You're the first line.
Come on, Noah. Come on. Okay, come on.
Oh, it's me!
Chapter
Yeah,
7.
it's you.
Oh, come on!
Yelled John as Paul showed him his hand. Paul put his cards down and he took the pile of cookies they were betting. The fuck? Are they like 9? What the heck? Who the hell
Can I
wrote
at least
this?
have one?
I think cookies are the chips.
Oh, yeah. Pleaded John. Smirked Paul. A few days had passed, and George was now ready to come home.
I don't get why they had to keep him for so long.
John questioned.
I don't get why they had to keep him for so long.
John questioned. Paul sighed. They drove him to the hospital. They drove to the hospital, Paul holding a bag of cookies in his lap. They walked in and up to the front desk.
Hi.
Blushed the lady.
What would you like?
Paul smiled.
Certainly.
She licked her lips. Paul kept smiling. John's face scrunched up in disgust.
Could you please come with me? I need to ask you a few questions.
She got up and started to walk away. What are you doing?
Oh my god.
Alright, just go. Paul started following her.
Yeah, okay.
John started walking too.
Just him.
She scowled.
Oh.
John watched the girl and Paul walk off. Ringo just stood there, looking concerned for Paul. What do you think she wants with him that we couldn't tell her? Ringo sighed.
Couldn't tell ya.
John sighed.
Probably not about George, though.
Ringo sat down on one of the chairs lined up against the walls of the entrance lobby. There was a coffee machine, so John made himself a cup and sat down next to Ringo. They waited a while, and after a few minutes, Paul and the girl came back giggling.
Now that I've had my coffee, I'm ready to watch Radar.
No!
Where are you?
He's talking about Spaceballs. He's quoting Spaceballs.
Oh.
Noah, just say your line.
Everyone knows I have coffee before I watch Radar. Everybody knows that. Of course you do. Guys,
Just skip
what you
it,
guys all say.
honestly.
Okay, well, never mind. Okay. Oh, good.
John smiled.
Now we can go see George.
He started to get out of his chair, but stopped when he heard the conversation going on between Paul and the girl. Paul laughed.
Yeah.
Smiled the girl. She pulled something out of her desk and handed it to Paul.
Let's go now.
Okay, 1 second. Guys, 1 second, 1 second, 1 second, 1 second, 1 second, 3 seconds.
All right. Grinned Paul. He turned to look. Stop doing the goddamn old man voice. It's too good. What the hell? What?
Was it Dungeons and Dragons, Lionel? What?
Oh my
Oh my
god.
god.
Periwinkle. The fuck uses periwinkle when they're a kindergartner? Why
Oh
would
my
you think
god.
of periwinkle? No more
That's
old man voice.
amazing.
It's great and it's perfectly done
I
for
love
whatever
it.
reason. It is your talent. Oh god. Go on America's Best Dancers. What's the show? So You Think You Can Dance, and then there's America something.
Imposter!
Oh my god. Simon Cowell?
That's so sus! I'm back. Where are we?
Okay, know it. Hold on. It's Lionel's part where he says, "All right." Grinned Paul. He turned to look at John and Ringo. They started to walk off together, and John saw what the girl had given Paul. Paul was holding a condom. John's eyes widened.
Seriously? Again?
He jumped out of his seat and took the lid off his cup of coffee. He looked back up at Paul and the girl. They were halfway down the hallway. John furrowed his brows and dumping his boiling coffee all over Ringo's lap. Ringo's eyes widened and he shrieked so loudly that everyone on the first floor could turn their heads, and John stood there frozen. Paul yelped and ran back over.
I thought Kai was Ringo.
Okay.
Wait, I thought Kai was
Read your
Ringo.
line.
I thought Kai was Ringo.
I'm Ringo, but oh yeah, I'm Ringo.
What? Paul's the one yelping. Where are you guys getting Ringo?
Ringo's
Ringo's
Oh,
yelping.
Paul yelped. Yeah, but he's shrieking. So shrieking is like, ah!
Oh,
That's
good
freaking.
lord.
And Paul yelped, and then Paul, it's your turn. So Ringo, are you okay? Ringo kept yelling. Paul said frantically before he ran back off. John suddenly unfroze and his jaw dropped. He bent down and put his hands all over his hands over his mouth. He took them back off and clenched his hair.
Oh god. Ringo. I'm so sorry. I didn't try. I didn't mean to. No, that was really... I'm such an idiot.
Ringo nodded and clenched his teeth in pain. Please, don't do that again, he grumbled. John suddenly appeared confused. Ringo looked up at him and tried to smile through the pain. I know that wasn't an accident, John. He stood there and then started blushing.
Oh, so you know?
Ringo forced a small laugh. Yeah, I know. You're kind of obvious. John's eyes widened.
Am I? Does he know?
Ringo forced another laugh. No, I don't think so. He must be completely oblivious. John laughed nervously.
Oh, okay, good.
Paul came back shortly with a load of napkins. The lady he was with was holding a cup of water. Paul quickly flung all of the napkins onto Ringo and started patting them down everywhere.
Ugh, is he good now?
The girl asked impatiently.
Can we go?
John quickly turned over to her and scowled. He pretended to start swinging at her, and then she screamed and ran off.
Ah!
Paul turned around and watched her run off, then looked at John. Paul asked worriedly.
I'll get it.
John smiled at him. He ran down the hall. The lady went down. He turned a corner and saw her squatting behind a cart. She shrieked and started running again.
Stop, I'm not trying to hurt you. We need the water.
The girl calmed down. She nodded and pushed the water in his hands. John started to turn when the girl spoke.
You know if your friend is coming back, though.
John raised his brow.
This next part is
Excuse me?
The
next
girl's
part
eyes
is
widened.
it's kind of transphobic in a way.
Yeah.
Heads up, guys.
Okay, well, it happens.
Yeah.
Oh, that's what. He wasn't
Oh my god, wait.
He wasn't,
wasn't-
like, Paul is gay. He's like, Paul is, trans. And then the girl was like, ew. And then he, like, threatened to punch her.
It's not bad. But
Okay,
Yeah.
well, that's fun.
Mm-hmm.
That's fun.
He's in love with Paul.
Guys, can we just
Did you not catch that? This is
continue
a
the story?
McLennan fan fiction.
Can we just continue the story?
All right, let's just continue. The girl's eyes widened.
The cute boy. Can you ask him to come to room? Oh, good lord. 34 when he's done helping your other friend?
John gave a sardonic smile.
I
Yeah,
bet
me
you
neither.
would love that, wouldn't you?
Well, we were getting to know each other, and I'd like to spend some more time with him.
She shot back.
Not that it's any of your business, but
She lowered her voice.
we were about to have some real fun. He told me I was the prettiest girl here.
John immediately stopped smiling. He stood there for a few seconds, and then another wide smirk grew across his face. Oh, God.
Huh? Oh, yeah. She told all the girls that.
The girl's prideful expression was suddenly replaced by a confused stare.
She?
Yeah. Oh, wait, no, that's you, Noah.
Yeah, not a lot of people know. Oh, I'm very poor. About Paula.
Really?
Yeah, does that bother you? I can't speak in a British voice. Yeah, does that bother you? It shouldn't really. She has all the necessary surgeries needed.
The girl's jaw suddenly dropped and she shuddered. She ran off, and John was left there cracking up for a whole minute. Then he ran back to Ringo and Paul. Paul smiled up at him and took the water from his hands. Yeah. He quickly poured the cold water over onto a towel. John started grinning like an idiot as Paul put the wet towel on Ringo's leg. He stopped as Paul turned around to talk again. Yep.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Good.
Oh my God.
Go.
Yep, you're still you. Yeah. After waiting about an hour, George came in, walking down the hallway in a gown. He was forcing a faint smile at the boys. They all hugged him super tight all at once, and he yelped. They all let go quickly and jumped backwards. George smirked.
Gee, you guys are crushing me. I'm all right. You don't have to be so worried.
Paul and John both laughed, and Ringo smiled at George. George started to speak again.
For so long.
Oh my god! Why did you guys laugh for so long? George started to speak again.
Nothing was wrong beside the deep gash that crazy bird made on my face. The rest, I think, was just me being scarred for life.
You started laughing.
God.
The timing, the comedic timing of this goddamn fan fiction is perfect. It's so good. All right. Paul, John, and Ringo stared at him and laughed nervously. George looked at them and saw their concerned expressions.
I'm all right though, but it was pretty scary. I thought those crazy girls were gonna.
He gulped and looked down at the floor. John put his hand on George's shoulder.
You're all right now, Gio. You're safe. Nobody ever knows you again. I'll make sure of it.
John looked over at George's shoulder,
Oh my god!
which his hand was still resting on. At the end of the hallway, the lady that Paul chatted with was pointing at them and whispering something nervously to a security guard. The guard looked at them and shouted something. He started running down the hallway and took out a taser. What the fuck?
What?
You're transgender! I'm kicking you out of this hospital! This is great London. When the Beatles were first created.
This is when London was still a monarchy.
London is still a monarchy.
No, it's not. Have you heard of Brexit?
No!
You clearly don't know. You clearly don't know the
Yeah, it's still a monarchy.
Yeah, but there are more celebrities than there are government.
Yeah. Okay. John's eyes widened.
Uh-oh.
John pulled his hand off of George's shoulder and laughed to the other guys.
Oh, come on. We gotta get out of here. Stupid transphobic coppers.
I fucking love this. This is the worst. I hate it. It's so great. They all ran out of the hospital doors laughing. As they drove home, Paul suddenly dropped his question, and George and Ringo had also been wondering. Oh. Oh my god. Shut up, Lionel.
It's the way you're dressed.
I'm not having a malfunction.
Where are
Read
we?
your damn line, Lionel. Why do you have to run from that guard, John? Read it! John started sweating.
Oh, I might have said a few things to that girl you were flirting with.
Paul laughed. John laughed nervously.
Oh yeah, yeah.
That was perfectly British. I don't know how to describe it. That was perfectly British.
Chapter 8.
Oh my god. That was so good. Oh my god. Oh my god. Okay. Shut up. Chapter 8. When they got back into their house, they were very quiet. They sat on the couch and stared up into space. After a while, George stood up.
I'm gonna go eat a sandwich.
He turned and quickly made his way to the kitchen. Ringo jumped up and ran after him. I'll come too, he yelled after him. Paul and John stayed still. After a few minutes of weird silence, Paul started to slowly get up. John suddenly stopped staring into space and looked at Paul.
Where are you?
He asked in a very curious voice. He coughed and started and restarted in an unenthusiastic sounding voice.
Where are you going?
First pretending not to care where Paul was going. Paul laughed. John jumped up, smiling.
Sure, I'll help.
They made their way upstairs and into Paul's room. It was completely organized and didn't need any cleaning up done. They entered John's room and Paul's eyes dropped. It was a complete train wreck. There was crumpled up papers all over the floor and half-eaten sandwiches on every surface possible. I don't know.
John, apparently.
John doesn't. John laughed when he saw Paul's shock.
I'm not the most tidy person.
Paul turned to him.
Wait, haven't you been in my room recently?
Paul thought about it, then responded.
Oh, really? Huh. I feel like you're coming here all the time.
Paul looked at him strangely. John suddenly tensed up. He had been thinking of his dreams.
Oh
Better
my
not let that
gosh.
slip up. His dreams of Paul were, well, let's say, they weren't exactly PG. John shut the door and started to look around for things to tidy up.
Oh my god.
Paul started working immediately. He picked up dirty laundry off the floor and threw it onto John's empty hamper. John started folding his clean laundry and putting it away. They finished after a few minutes. Then Paul picked up John's bed blanket, which was curled on the floor. Right after Paul flung up aside the blanket to let it float down on the bed, John dove underneath it. John lied underneath the blanket in complete darkness, and after a few seconds, a light came from the other sides, and Paul came slithering in like a snake. John laughed as him and Paul just lied completely in the dark with the blanket. Paul started laughing too. And John started hearing Paul's voice slowly turn into a woman's. He stopped laughing and went into a flashback-like trance.
Can I be the beautiful woman also known as Aunt Mimi?
Okay,
Oh, Johnny,
smiled a beautiful woman.
I don't think hiding here will allow you to stay.
Come on, Mom.
Oh wait, I'm the mom.
Yeah.
Can't find us here underneath the covers. There's a small opening on that side of the blanket for a light and air. I can't stay in here forever with you.
A young John giggled. The woman frowned.
Sorry, John. I know you want to spend more time with me, but there's so much to do. I don't have time.
John stopped laughing.
You don't have time for me.
The woman's eyes widened.
Johnny, sweetie, no! I love you. I'll always have time for you.
John wasn't convinced. He continued twiddling his thumbs. Julia leaned towards John and put her hand on his shoulder.
John? Do you understand? John?
That was a perfect transition. Perfect timing right there. Just want to compliment that.
Okay,
that
well,
great.
you just ruined it.
I'm sorry. I had to read anyways, so it was perfect. John jumped and pulled the entire blanket upward with his head for a second.
Huh? Oh, yeah. I'm fine.
Paul looked down at his lap, avoiding eye contact.
Oh, did I? I'm sorry.
John smiled and almost started tearing up. He grabbed Paul and hugged him tight. Paul then wrapped his arms around John and they sat in the dark underneath the covers, hugging for minutes.
Wow.
They both heard a knock on the door, followed by an opening. Oh! They hear Ringo yell, "Sorry, I didn't see anything." The slam of the door quickly followed.
Slam!
Paul laughed and John cocked an eyebrow.
Cock's eyebrow.
You said cock! Okay, no, just say your thing.
What's so funny, Macca?
Paul forced out in between laughs. Paul forced out in between laughs. That's still Paul. He started cracking up again, and John laughed nervously.
Yeah, totally.
John fake laughed. Then he muttered on his breath so Paul couldn't hear over his own laughs.
About as straight as Bob Dylan's hair.
Let me look up Bob Dylan. Hold on.
Huh?
I'm looking up Bob Dylan so I can see
Probably
his
curly
hair.
hair. Probably has curly hair.
He does have curly hair. You're right, but
Yeah.
it's not like really that curly. I don't. Why did
Okay.
they use Bob Dylan as
I don't know. He's
reference?
like the only other famous singer at the time.
Guys.
What?
I'm gonna read the comments too about as straight as Bob Dylan's hair. Yes. Bye. LOL. Bye. I just spat all over my phone and then wheezed and dropped my phone. Oh, Stan John Lennon for clear skin lovies.
Oh my god.
LMAO, yes. I laughed so hard that my phone fell out of my hand and landed on my tooth, and now my mouth hurts. Thanks for making my day.
Oh my god. Okay.
Let's continue. Let's continue.
Okay.
All right. Paul stopped laughing. You gonna continue?
Nothing.
John smiled. Hold on. It's like skipping to the next chapter. Okay.
Smile noises.
Hmm?
What?
Oh,
Bro.
man.
Secret joining. That's a 1 in a billion chance to get. You're lucky. Oh my
Kaya,
gosh.
you've got to read a lot.
Okay. That's fine. All right. Chapter
Okay, go.
9. John lied on his bed, staring up at the ceiling. Paul had left, and now John couldn't stop thinking about him. Would he ever be able to tell Paul the truth? That he loved him more than anything in the world? That he wished Paul felt the same way? That he wished he could be even legal for them to be together? Thanks, Obama. No, he couldn't. He knew Paul liked girls. He loved John, but not in that way. If John came out with the truth to Paul, it might ruin their friendship. It would even be awkward to ever speak again, and John didn't want that. But on the other hand, it might work out. When John first met Paul, he thought he'd been gay. But he wasn't. He'd just been acting in a very feminine manner. But that didn't mean anything, did it? John knew that it was very stereotypical of him, but he couldn't help it. He couldn't think of any men he knew who would act in a feminine way and turned out to be straight. With that, the door flung open. John's face tensed and leaped up into a sitting position. He turned to the door and saw George there, laughing gently. John smiled and raised an eyebrow.
What?
Asked John curiously.
What's so funny?
Mellow.
Nothing.
Giggled George.
Ringo told me.
He broke off into a fit of giggles. John's face turned as white as a ghost.
What?
John asked worriedly.
What did he say?
George finally got a hold of his laughing. You wanted to be George!
I didn't! No, I did not!
You got to be George!
You said that you two went together, touching under the sheets.
We were hugging!
John snapped defensively.
And both of our clothes were on, so don't get any idea. And besides, I like girls, and only girls.
George's smile faded, and his eyes were wide. Mellow!
Oh.
Oh, what?
John growled, a little too harshly.
Thought it was funny, did you? Did I spoil your fun?
George shook his head and slowly walked over. He sat on the bed next to John, and stared at him. He looked down at his lap and then looked back up to John.
John, I always kind of. I mean,
George looked embarrassed.
I always thought you were queer.
Oh my fucking god! I can't believe. Okay. John's jaw dropped, but he quickly closed his mouth back up again.
First of all, it's not queer. It's a queer person. Secondly, what makes you think that?
Go, John. Gay rights. George shrugged. Mellow. 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 You know what, Lionel, just go.
I closed this. I'm back.
Welcome back.
I closed Discord on accident. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Okay,
Stop it.
We were at George Shrugged.
Noah, stop doing the thingy. Okay, it says
I'm done.
George shrugged, yeah.
I mean, I see you with girls all the time. You're always smiling, but it looks fake compared to, well, you know.
What?
Well, whenever I see you talking to guys, you always have a really real smile on your face, and your eyes gleam. Mostly when you're with all the queers. Sorry, queer people that we know. You know, like Brian, Victor, other photographers and artists we meet. Especially when you're with Paul.
John's eyes widened.
Paul? Wait, what? Why'd you say Paul? George, is Paul, is he?
George looked scared and held up his hands defensively.
Hold on, I have an ad. I scrolled on accident.
How dare you?
I didn't mean to. I went to scroll down all the way and it scrolled forward.
Wow.
Hold on. Okay, it's over. I don't know. I'm just saying what I think.
Wait, where's...
Yours at okay.
Oh, okay, but he might be right.
John put his face in his hands.
Ugh, but am I really that obvious, George?
Not really. We're lucky the press doesn't know they'd be right on your back all the time.
John let out a fake laugh.
Yeah, well, tell me something I don't know.
Hold on, I got an ad.
Bruh.
I have to scroll down to get the goddamn... What line? What did you say? It's 35. Yeah. We haven't even gotten to the part where Paul gets beat the shit out of it and thrown out a window.
Oh my gosh. John Lennon's gonna be so upset by that.
He catches him.
Oh.
Yeah.
How heroic.
I know, right? Chapter
Okay, go.
10. The next few days were great. George had originally complained about his cut hurting a lot, but as days went on, it hurt less and less. Ringo's leg had been a little red in the beginning, but it was all better now. Paul and John had been spending a lot more time together. Paul was frustrated to find that within a day of them cleaning John's room, it was already back to its messy state. This amused John, which made Paul even more frustrated. But besides that, John felt like Paul and him were really connecting more. He was sure that sooner or later, they would be together. Or so he thought. John slapped his hand on the card pile and laughed. Noah.
Oh, it's not me.
Oh, that's me.
Yeah.
Yuck, yuck. Yes.
Was that the yes? Was that what you're saying?
Yes. I said yes.
Okay. He dragged all the cookies in the middle towards him.
Oh, mine!
Ringo and George groaned. Ugh.
Guys.
John kept smiling.
Guys.
No, you're not.
Guys.
Yes, Mello.
So I hate to cut this short, but I have to go shower before my mom comes and beats me up.
Oh no. Go shower.
I was supposed to shower an hour and a half ago.
Oh damn. Okay, go take a shower.
This is you guys.
Lionel, I know it's you! It is funky, though. Go take a shower, Mello. We'll continue a little bit on without you.
Oh, okay.
Bye-bye. All right, turn it off. Let's continue. No, Lionel, you can take George's role. John kept smiling and bit into one of the cookies. Said with a full mouth. George raised an eyebrow. John held up his finger and then swallowed. Gulp.
Well,
He then repeated himself.
where's Paul?
George rolled his eyes. Ringo laughed and shoved him playfully. Push.
Ow.
George shrugged. John bit his lip.
Hey, can I ask you two something?
George and Ringo both looked scared, but they nodded.
Do you two like each other?
John forced out. Stop! I don't think I can take this. I don't think I can do it any longer. All right, stop it. Okay. All right, yeah.
That was pretty funny.
Timed.
That was pretty funny.
That was good. All right, now don't do it ever again. Unless it's perfectly funny and you hit it completely on point. Ringo and George both started crying laughing. They couldn't stop for about 5 minutes. John sat there blushing the whole time. When they finally did stop, Ringo spoke. Well, we like each other, but we don't like each other.
Oh, okay.
John muttered.
But what should you do if you like a person and you think they might really like you too?
What are you guys, like in middle school? What the... Betting on cookies?
Just go. Go.
George shrugged. John smiled and nodded. Then, right on cue, there was a knock at the door. That's how I'm making knocking noises. I don't have anything near me to knock. John jumped up and ran to it. He flung it open and started yelling excitedly.
Paul, I have something.
John quickly stopped smiling. A girl was standing next to Paul. They were both holding hands, and Paul was blushing. He giggled. That was so good.
For Bob's
John-
Burgers? Since when was Tina's in Bob's Burgers? How did you bring Tina from Bob's Burgers back in time?
Stop it! All right. John turned his head towards the girl and made a very fake smile. Noah!
Hello. Tina!
Tina smirked at John and looked him up and down. Then she winked at him. Wink. Her and Paul stepped inside and left John standing there confused. Paul and Tina both waved at George and Ringo. They both waved back, looking very confused too. Then Paul and Tina immediately ran upstairs.
Wait, Paul and Tina from
Paul, you
Zelda?
little slut.
Paul and Tina?
John stood puzzled at the bottom of the stairs. He heard a bunch of giggles, followed by the slam of a door. He looked at George and Ringo and furrowed his brows. George and Ringo both looked scared. What'd we do? Ringo yelped.
Why didn't you tell me he had a new bird?
John yelled, trying to sound as intimidating as possible, but there's a slight lump in his throat. George shrugged.
What?
George threw his hands up in the air.
What do you mean?
Ringo stared at him, confused by the question. What do you mean by, what do you mean? John grunted.
I mean that you were telling me. Is that he just picked up a girl at, where was he? The supermarket. He picked up a girl at the supermarket and I was upstairs making love?
George shrugged again. Ringo nodded in agreement with George. I mean, it kind of is his thing. He does this a lot, no? John looked down at his feet.
I thought we were finally connecting.
He whispered to himself. There was loud thumping noises vibrating the ceiling of the first floor. George and Ringo just sat there looking at their laps, and John just stood there, transfixed. He heard a lamp shattered to the floor, followed by a girl screaming, "Ah!" and Paul laughing. Then the thumping continued. George and Ringo both went to bed after a little while. Why is it taking so long? After about 30 minutes, John decided to go upstairs. He pushed open Paul's door a crack. They were both asleep and naked. Their clothes lie on the floor. John smirked and quietly crept into the room.
Oh my gosh.
John went downstairs with his arms full of the girl's clothes. He opened a drawer and took out a pair of scissors. He smiled and was about to start cutting away when something fell out of the girl's pocket. A million pictures of her and her boyfriend spilled onto the floor, along with a small piece of paper with his number on it. John giggled and rubbed his hands together.
This is gonna be better than I thought.
Chapter 11. Oh my god!
Perfect timing.
No,
Perfect
it wasn't.
timing.
That was so bad.
Perfect timing.
Okay. All right. Hold on. I got to switch headphones and stuff. All right. Let's go. Chapter 11. It was 9 o'clock on a Saturday. Hold on. Headphones. There we go. It was 9 o'clock on a Saturday.
That's what Bob Dylan looks like?
Yeah, that's what Bob Dylan looks like. See how uncurly his hair is?
What the heck?
I know.
Okay.
A Billy Joel reference intended. John listened from the top of the stairs. Where are you even getting the goddamn Seinfeld sound effects for this?
Oh my gosh. Whatever, let's just keep going.
All right. He heard George and Ringo playing checkers downstairs. Turn it off, Lionel! He then slowly nudged open Paul's door to see what he and Tina were still fast asleep. A devilish grin spread across his face. Perfect. He placed the cut-up pile of the girl's clothes in the exact same spot he took them from. He quietly snuck out the door and started to pull it close, but then stopped. He thought it might be better to leave the door wide open. So he did. When he got downstairs, he started to make his way towards the phone. George saw him and called out, which made Ringo turn his head and around and stare at John. John felt slight sweat running down the back of his neck.
Hey, George, did you get a good night's sleep?
His voice shook nervously. Yeah. Yeah, ... George shook looked like he was waiting for something. John stood there, trying to look as innocent as possible. George laughed. John stood there. Ringo had been staring at John the whole time, and had now turned his back around to look at George. No, I think it's me. Yeah. No, it's okay. He's just trying to get rid of another one of Paul's girlfriends, he said nonchalantly. John's jaw dropped. George's did too. George yelled. Ringo shrugged. Then he turned his head around again to look at John. Am I involved in this prank in any way? Ringo raised an eyebrow. Are you going to burn me leg again or something? John quickly shook his head. Ringo turned back around and looked at George. I'm fine with it then. Ringo shrugged again. John smiled and went to the phone in the other room. As he had left, he heard George ask. John took the number out of his pocket and dialed it. Hello, said a deep voice.
Yeah,
No!
hi, is this Jim?
John said, doing his best impression of a girl.
No, I need to do that again.
Yeah.
Hi, is this Jim?
John said, doing his best impression of a girl. Yeah? And who might this be? Jim asked.
This is
Karen. Ugh. I just called to say I met your girlfriend, and she's really nice.
Okay. Is that it?
Yeah. One more thing. She's cheating on you with some super cute boy. She's in his house right now. I don't think he knows that she has a boyfriend though. So you shouldn't blame him.
John said it all really quickly. There was a few seconds of silence. Then John heard a low grumble. I'm gonna kill her. She said she was sleeping over at a friend's house. John suppressed his excitement and continued to do a girly voice.
I was supposed to keep doing that.
Yeah.
If you want, I have the address.
He then gave their address and hung up the phone. He squealed with excitement. He ran back into the other room where George and Ringo were sitting talking. They looked up at him and looked worried. Lionel, said George. John smiled and nodded while jumping up and down. Yeah.
Go.
George scoffed. John stopped jumping and the smile left his face.
Sorry. It's just that plans of mine have never been this perfect.
He turned to Ringo and then back to George, then back to Ringo.
You two might want to get out of here. There's a slight chance this could turn ugly, and I promise I don't want and I promised that you wouldn't get hurt again, Ringo.
Fair enough, Ringo shrugged. Ringo and George both got up and walked to the bar down the street, with George practically clinging to Ringo, which, okay, that's fair. He almost died.
Yeah.
John closed the front door behind them and rubbed his hands together in mischief. He started to turn, but immediately there was a knock on the door. See, I have the knock now. I can do it. John opened it and saw a big man standing in the doorway. He gulped quietly, then gathered his courage.
What? Can I help you, sir?
John did his best to sound confused. Yeah, grunted the man. I heard my girlfriend Tina was here. John acted astounded.
Your girlfriend? Oh, that's absurd.
The guy raised an eyebrow. And why is that? Hold on, I messed it up, but gonna keep going.
Because my friend has a girl upstairs with him named Tina too. What a coincidence.
The guy pushed John aside and walked in. The man yelled at the stairs at the top of his voice, Tina! John smiled.
Where are you going, sir?
The guy made his ways upstairs. I'm gonna murder my girlfriend and teach that new guy a lesson.
What? No.
John ran up after him. He was much smaller and quicker. Than Jim, and made it to the top of the stairs. Jim was slowly making his way up. Movements and whispers were coming from Paul's room. The door was wide open. John heard Paul frantically whisper, Lionel. No, old man voice. I can't. Tina's voice sounded. Wait, who was doing Tina's voice before? No, wait, Tina didn't say anything. I can't. Tina's voice sounded twice as worried. All my clothes are cut up into pieces. John held in his giggles and turned to the man, who was now at the top of the stairs. Tina! Tina let out a high-pitched scream. Jim was now in the doorway, completely enraged at what he was seeing. Tina was naked and yanked the blanket off of Paul's bed to cover herself up. Paul stood on the other side of the bed, looking like he was about to faint. John stood right outside the door and was getting ready to see the whole thing go down. None of the others seemed to notice he was even there. I'm gonna kill you, Jim screamed. John smiled, but then his eyes widened at the thought, and when he saw that Jim was actually talking to Paul. Jim charged at Paul. Paul screamed. Tina shrieked.
Uh-oh!
Frowned John.
You didn't do that Seinfeld music. That would have been a perfect time. But you didn't do it. It's too late.
Too late now,
No,
Lionel.
it's
You
too
missed
late.
your chance.
It's too late. This is not how I was expecting it to go down.
That's fair. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay,
Sorry, I'm
next
getting an
next
ad.
part.
Done. Okay. Chapter 12. Jim grabbed Paul by the front of his shirt and slammed him to the window behind him. Paul let out a tiny wheeze. That's right, the guy spat in his face. That's what you get for messing with my girl. Jim turned his head to look at Tina and she squealed. I'll deal with you later. You're gonna wish you were never born. He smiled creepily at her. But first, this guy's going for a little ride. Then he turned back to Paul and continued to slam him into the window repeatedly. John stood in the doorway, biting his nails. Then he suddenly stopped as his eyes widened. This guy's going too far for a little ride. Was he going to slam Paul until the window broke? John looked closer at the window and saw a large crack in the spot Paul was being slammed into. Oh no. John belted from the doorway down the stairs. As he ran, he heard multiple loud sounds at once. He heard glass shattering, Paul making choking noises, and Jim laughing. John sprinted as fast as he could to the door. Huh? I don't know. On the phone? On the phone. His name's Jim, though. Yeah. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Yeah, just a fake guy, and then his name is Jim.
Okay, go. Continue.
Okay. Paul making choking noises and Jim laughing. John sprinted as fast as. Hold on, my phone's tilting. John sprinted as fast as he could back to the door, to the back door of the house, and he looked around at the ground underneath where Paul's window was. The window had finally broken, because broken glass was scattered all over the grass underneath the window. As John looked up, he saw that Paul was dangling out the window. Jim had his hand wrapped tightly around Paul's neck, and it was the only thing holding him up. Paul was turning pale. He was being strangled. John's entire body froze. This man is going to kill him. John suddenly regained his strength, and he ran to the spot right under Paul's window. He heard Jim cackle again and speak. I'm not gonna kill you, you know. I just want to make sure you know who you are messing with. So to show you how nice I am, I'm gonna let you go. Paul suddenly turned even whiter, then passed out. Jim laughed once more, then let go of Paul's neck. Not even at the right time! Oh my god. The entire world seemed to go in slow motion for John. Paul's limp body slowly starting falling from the window. John looked around at the broken glass scattered all around the ground. John looked at the distance between the window and the ground. He furrowed his eyebrows. He held his arms out. Paul fell hard into them. John fell hard to the floor. John felt glass shards cut the back of his legs and arms. I don't know. I mean, he was just being choked, so I think it's fair that Paul fainted. Yeah. John felt the glass shards in the back of his legs and arms. He looked up at Paul and cradled gently in his arms. John smiled and passed out.
Dang.
Chapter 13. You're overplaying it. It's not going to be funny after like 5 more times. Save them for good moments. Shut up, Lionel. John slowly woke up to find that it's slightly dark outside. A few hours had passed. John looked down to see Paul still in his arms. John turned pale, but then smiled when he looked closer. Paul was breathing gently and was smiling slightly. He was conscious again, but had fallen asleep. John tried to slowly get up so as not to wake Paul. He was too heavy, so John had to use all his strength and speed to lift himself up. The movement had woken Paul up, and he looked sleepily at John. God, he said, yawning. John looked up at him.
Still?
Paul blushed lightly.
Oh.
John was blushing now, too. John carried Paul inside and laid him down on the living room couch. Paul smiled up at John and yawned. Paul laughed. Gently as his eyelids started slowly drooping. John laughed too.
Yeah, and I feel like a body fell on top of me and I landed on a giant pile of glass shards.
Paul's eyes suddenly flew open and he quickly sat up. John tried to lay Paul back down, but Paul just stared at John with worriedness. Paul demanded. John just put up his hands and laughed.
Alright, whatever you say, my.
Mimi.
Me.
John turned around and Paul gasped. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I'll take them out later.
Paul stood up and started to sit John down on the couch. John laughed and reluctantly lied stomach down on the couch. Paul reached for tiny pieces of glass that easily pulled out of the back of John's shirt. Then he started tugging on bigger piece and John screamed. Paul yelped. He looked at John to see his eyes were slightly watering.
Nothing. Just keep going.
John muttered. John got up. He hesitated and then took his shirt off slowly. Paul
Whoa.
noticed that when John took the shirt off and handed it to Paul, there were many less pieces of glass on the shirt now, but none of the pieces were on the couch or the floor. Paul said slowly. John flinched, then turned around slowly. Paul screeched and stared frightened at John's back. There were tons of pieces of glass stabbed deep into John's back. Blood was trickling from all of them. It looked nauseating.
I'm fine.
Said John said in a strange voice.
It doesn't hurt that much.
John stared at Paul blankly for a few seconds. He then had a slight gag reflex. He turned white and then forced a smile and nodded. Paul laughed. John's eyes suddenly rolled back into his head and he collapsed on the floor. Mm-hmm. Paul rushed to pick him up and started heaving him to the front door. Paul said out loud, even though John couldn't hear him. He lied down on his stomach across the back seats. He lied John down on his stomach across the back seats and lied John's shirt on top of his back. And then he got into the driver's seat and drove off down the street, heading down to towards the hospital. All right, good. Chapter 14. Paul was speeding down the street that led onto the bar and even further down to the hospital.
It's funny all the time.
I'm gonna kill you. Oh. Yeah, it's great. Yeah, the Seinfeld theme in general is a masterpiece. All of a sudden, he slammed on the brakes. All right. He slammed on the brakes. A person had run into the street right in front of Paul's car. Paul was about an inch away from running him over. Paul's head had whipped forward and he smacked it into the wheel. Paul shouted. He lifted his head to see the man, and he saw Ringo smiling at him. Paul squinted in the dark. Ringo smiled, and then George came running out of the bar. He had the same super goofy smile on his face. Paul put his head back in his hands. He opened the window and yelled at them both. Oh my God! Ringo got into the passenger seat, and George jumped into the back next to John, lifting John's head and putting it in his lap. Enough! Yep. Ringo hiccuped, then giggled. George giggled too, and then started poking at John's head. Oh my God! George! George laughed. Ringo laughed with him. George gulped and then looked at Ringo worriedly. Paul sighed. George's eyes widened. Paul was becoming impatient. Paul said dreamily. No, you gotta redo it. You gotta say it dreamily. Paul said dreamily. George and Ringo both broke off into a fit of giggles. I don't know how to do a hyena laugh, but
Not freaking winter break yet.
I was getting yelled at. Paul said dreamily. What are you talking about? Oh, Paul said dreamily. You gotta say it dreamily. Paul said dreamily. George and Ringo both broke off into a fit of giggles. That's perfect. That's perfect. That's how I imagine British people laughing. Stop with the Seinfeld! Alright. Just say your stupid line. Paul blushed. George then stopped laughing, and so did Ringo. Nothing. Ringo smiled goofily. George nodded, and then his eyes widened and he opened the window. George leaned out and threw up. The vomit. George leaned out and threw up. The vomit threw behind them in the air. Ringo started screaming, laughing, and George just closed his eyes and moaned. What?
Hey guys, I'm not being yelled at.
You were being yelled
I
at.
was not being yelled at.
George ignored him and just
Where
stared
are
into
we?
space as Ringo kept laughing.
Okay, I got it.
Yeah. Paul rolled his eyes. The rest of the car trip was completely silent. When they finally got there, Paul suddenly went back into a big ball of anxiety. He got out the door and went around the other side of the car. He opened the door and heaved John off the side of George's lap. He stood John up and slung his arm around his neck. Then he looked back at George and Ringo. Paul slammed George's door and started dragging John to the hospital entrance. I think this is John. Yeah, this is John. Noah, get back here. Stop being yelled at.
1 second. Okay, where is it?
All right, it's right after the big line. It's your giant paragraph.
Okay. It's hard to remember exactly.
What? Megalovania? Oh, yeah.
What is it?
Yeah.
Okay. I
Yeah.
don't know that one, but I'm gonna start reading now.
Oh my god.
I'm not
No,
being
read
yelled
your
at.
line.
My gosh.
No, he's just like smacking his lips.
1 second.
Noah! Stop getting yelled at. God. Yeah. Stop doing crime and being straight. Ayo. Oh my god. Noah, stop getting yelled at and do your monocle. Monocle? No? What is it called? No. What's it? Monologue. Monologue. Gay. Hello. Hold on. Hold on. Yeah, give me a sec. I got spaghetti. What's up? It's mine. Yu-Gi-Oh? Yu-Gi-Oh? Oh. Mm, Yu-Gi-Oh? Yu-Gi-Oh? Are you talking about Yu-Gi-Oh? Oh, and then it goes into like a hardcore metal cover. And then it's fighting your friends is fun, whatever. It's like Pokemon but evil.
Ah!
Noah, do your thing.
Okay. 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 Okay.
Do your
Wait.
monologue. Do it.
Okay. 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 1 second.
Noah, come on. Monologue.
A little bit.
Come on. I just want to finish this goddamn chapter. Yeah, we're waiting for Noah
I'm
again.
back. I'm back.
Noah,
I'm
do your
back. Okay.
monologue.
Okay, I'm ready. I need to get into character. Me. Me.
Come on!
Okay. It's hard to remember when exactly I fainted. I think the first time was soon as Paul fell into my arms from the window. I remember feeling a lot of pain all at once, and it was too much. My arms hurt, my legs hurt. Then I felt the pieces of glass go straight into my back. And then the next time, Paul and I were inside. I think he was in the middle of talking about how big and strong I was. Then all of a sudden, I felt the little pieces in my back, and they felt gross. Certain spots on my back felt cold and sore, and though I could feel blood running down my back, I almost threw up but held it in. Then, I just fainted.
The doctor nodded. Wow. Thanks, John. That was actually more info than I needed to know, but thank you for explaining everything. John tried to nod, but he was laying on his stomach, so found it difficult. He was in a hospital gown in a small hospital room. The doctor stood up from the edge of John's hospital bed and clapped his hands together. I think we'll have to gas you. Take these out, and then take these out, then wrap you up and send you on your way. The doctor laughed. Same plan as before. The doctor left the room and came back with a gas nurse. He shut the door. He wheeled the tank towards John and started to pull up a tube in his mouth. Ready? John smiled, and the doctor put it up against John's mouth. John felt himself drift into a sleep and fall into a really nice dream.
Well, that's the end. Time for bed.
All right. Bye-bye.
Good